Okay, so we're probably in a pretty good spot at this point. You folks have your control curves that will allow you to do edits to your character. Additionally, we just kind of fixed up our blend shapes, so now those will also give your character a lot of visual versatility. And like now your character is ready to basically act, be able to like recite dialogue, show expressions, all of that great stuff. Yeah, so this is the fun part. We are going to be focusing really heavily on the audio for this particular activity. So let's get that going. I'm going to go to my timeline down here. We're going to right click and choose audio and import audio. Yeah, so again, right click on your timeline, find audio, and then choose the import audio option. Okay, now there are going to be audio that we are specifically looking for. So I'll be providing that to you, unless you personally really want to produce your own audio, which, totally cool with me. But I'm going to take from my samples over here. So I do have my wait a minute one. I think I'll use that. So we'll drop this off. Yeah. As soon as you drop off that audio, what you're gonna notice down over here is that you're gonna see the waves for the audio. Okay, very good visual indicators. Also, when we play back, okay, there is a chance you may hear this. Yeah. Now I'll go for when you might not hear it. But if you go to the play button over here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, so like just nonstop wait a minute, yeah, for me over here. Now, if you notice when you press the play button, yours does not. The audio is not like you can't hear it. No problem. Just go ahead and right click on the play button. There's a good chance that your playback speed is on one of these other two settings, probably the middle one. Yeah, so play every frame free. We are going to switch it to real time. Yeah, when it's on real time, so again, right click, yeah, playback speed, and then real time. When we're working with when we put it on real time, the audio should go through. Yeah, so yeah, very key that you make sure the audio is there, because that's gonna really drive our animation. Yeah. Okay, now we are gonna change some settings on here. So first of all, I noticed that like my audio kind of goes up until like the 24th frame. I kind of want to use a little bit more than that. So instead of having this at 24, I'm probably gonna bump this up a bit. So I'm gonna click on I'm gonna kind of click on this right here, and let's kind of drag it. I'll get it to maybe about 36. Yeah, I think I'll work with about that amount of frames there. The other thing that I'm gonna really focus in on is the audio starts right off the bat in the first frame. I want to edit that and have that start a little bit later. So I'm gonna click on that audio in my outliner, and then on the I'm gonna go to the upper right hand corner and just choose the attribute editor. Yeah, so sorry, clicked on the wrong one. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the attribute editor up here. Okay, and here is going to give you a lot of your information. Right now it's telling me that it kind of goes on for about 23 frames, which matches up visually on here. The starting point is at 0. Yeah, so this will allow you to kind of like even choose areas that you want to clip off of the video. Of course you can edit also. What I want to do is give a little bit more space at the beginning. So right now the offset is set at 0, so that means it starts exactly at that first frame or at the 0 frame. Instead of doing that, I'm going to put this at 6. Yeah, and what you're going to notice is as soon as I type in 6, the audio has moved over. Yeah, so I have a little bit of pause, and it's not just like audio right off the bat. Yeah, so very slight change, but it'll help me out when I'm animating. All right, and I'm pretty good with here. So I'm gonna like jump back out of the attribute editor, so I have a little bit more space to work with too. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna do my click and drag. Yes, I'm gonna click on where I am on the timeline, just so I can kind of hear where stuff is. Now, depending on your audio quality, sometimes it's gonna sound super clean. Mine sounds a little bit more robotic. These are clips from older movies. Yeah, so just for avoiding copyright issues. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to kind of drag along. If you notice at about the 7th frame, that's when things start. And also I know that this is a wait a minute is what she's saying. Yeah, so I do know I want to start her like changing her mouth position a little bit earlier than that. So usually when you're speaking, your mouth is gonna form like movement before the sound comes out. Yeah. So rule of thumb is usually at least begin having the shape of the mouth look like it's gonna match with the sound. At least one, but usually 2 frames prior. Yeah. So if the w, yeah, so starts pretty much at about the 7th frame. That means that I want to actually start the wool a little bit earlier, so that would be maybe at around 5. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get to 5 first. Okay. I'm then going to go ahead and select the um, I'm going to select this control curve up here, which is the blend shapes control curve. If you remember, this one had your your 4 expressions, plus it also kind of had your speech mouth movements. Yeah. Now the main thing we're going to be focusing in on here is going to be the speech ones. Yeah. So um, now obviously at 5, we aren't going to quite have the mouth movement happening yet. So right over here at 5, I'm probably going to just go in and keyframe it. Yeah, so real easy to do. With these 3 selected, we're going to right click and I'm going to choose the key selected option. What that's going to do is going to create keyframes just for these particular mouth movements. Yeah, they're kind of sister ones. Yeah. Okay, now we are going to switch up. Yeah, so we're going to have her start to form the wool right off the bat. Yeah, so and again, we want to go a little bit earlier than when she actually says it. Yeah, which is going to be 7. Yes, that's the way. Yeah. So at the 6th frame, I'm then going to go in here and I'm going to keyframe once again. Yeah. Now, if you notice, 5 and 6, they're both at 0. However, I'm then going to jump up the W one, and I'm going to put this at 1. You can also middle mouse button and drag it. And as soon as you do that, okay, you notice that the color changes. Yeah. And the reason why is because this pink just indicates, oh, there's no keyframe there yet. Yeah. Okay. Now I do want that keyframe, so I'm going to make sure just that one layer is highlighted. I'm gonna right click and choose key selected. Yeah. And then the cool thing is now between 5 and 6, I can kind of see my wool is beginning to form. Yeah. So yeah, so we can kind of play this out. Let's see how this looks. Not gonna be a lot happening, but
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Okay, so we got something. Yeah, so we got something. We got our wool going. Yeah, pretty quick. I may actually end up putting this keyframe maybe a little bit earlier, maybe even to 4, but I can move that around afterwards. Okay, now the next thing is, if you notice, she is saying way. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of find where that A is gonna be. Kind of feels like you said about 8. Yeah, is where the way is happening. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to kind of keep our keyframes over here. So I'm gonna grab all of these ones. I'm gonna right click and key selected. But when we're doing a way, yeah, so way, the mouth should be opening at this point. Yeah, and remember the controls for that are going to be in this lower jaw control curve. Yeah, so I'm gonna highlight this. As soon as you do that, one of the more disturbing parts about this is that you're gonna notice like, hey, wait a minute, my keyframes are gone. Yeah, but that's not exactly the case. Your keyframes are still there. It's just that they were all on your blend shapes control curve. Yeah, so sometimes you may want to write these down. It might help a little bit to let you know like where you are for your keyframes for other things. Yeah. Okay, now one of the cool things about this is that, okay, so we know at 8, this is when the mouth should be fully open. Now, the other thing we're looking at here is your mouth should stay closed from probably right over here. Yeah, so even at 6, we're gonna have your mouth still kind of closed. I know like literally it's open, but that's just the wool. But we're gonna have to keep the jaw in that position over there. So at 6, basically we're just gonna go to rotate X. I'm gonna right click and key select it. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be that. Okay, now the next thing though is we're gonna get to our way. Yeah, so remember the A part is at 8. I'm now going to go here to 8. I'm going to rotate this, yeah, so I'm going to kind of get the way, yeah. So we'll have the mouth open. Okay, and then as far as the rotation goes, yeah, that looks pretty good. So we can go way, yeah, and then I'm then gonna right click and key that, yeah, and then we can kind of take a look at it, so we can kind of see the, yeah, yeah. So let's go ahead and play that out. Yes, now you should have a.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It's not bad, not bad. One thing I'm noticing here that I don't like as much is that the mouth is still kind of doing a w plus a. Yeah, so way. When you get to way, for the a part, it feels like the mouth should be a little bit more open on the sides. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to over here, my blend shape, control curve, and then I'm going to switch out. Yeah, so instead of having 8 at 1 still, I'm gonna have this switch to 0. Yeah, so we're gonna put that at 0. And then I can right click and keyframe on that, and then I can kind of play that out, and then we can kind of take a look at it, see if it looks all right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah, so how's that sound? Yeah, you can kind of take a look at way, way, way. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, so that's way. Yeah. Okay, now, of course, the word is almost done. Yeah, who knew talking was this complicated? But now that your W's pretty solid, we're gonna kind of leave it at that for now. Yeah, so if you notice, those are all the zeros. We're now going to go to the way to. Yeah, and then when we get into the ta, that part is a little bit tricky because now we're going to go to where your mouth is not necessarily closed, but your mouth should be like the teeth should be like pretty close to being closed. Yeah, so not quite closed, but we should see like the teeth more so than anything. Yeah. Yeah, so right about here's where the T is gonna be. I'm going to go back to the lower jaw on here. Rotate X is like at this point right here. I am going to key it, and then I'm just gonna get it so that the teeth kind of are showing. Yeah, so wait. Yeah, so maybe about there is pretty good. Yeah, so then we have our and then rotate X, we can then key selected that. Yeah, and then we can take a look at it. Wait, not bad. I might actually move this over to the 10 instead. So I'm gonna jump this up to 10. I'm gonna key select that one for rotate X, and I'm gonna go to 9. This one turned out to be a little bit early, so notice I still have my rotate X selected up here. I'm going to right click right here and then choose delete. Yeah, so at least we get like a quick longer, slightly longer for wait. Yeah, so wait. Yeah, wait. Okay. All right, so we're kind of getting there. Now the next thing is, as soon as we get wait, then it's gonna be wait a minute, right? So let's see how this looks. I'm gonna jump back to here, and you notice we're kind of jumping back and forth just between those 3 mouth movements and the lower jaw. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, so wait is feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. Okay, now when we get to the next one, as soon as we're done with wait, then it's A. And then wait A, yeah, so we're definitely gonna go from this to A, yeah. So at 12 about, yeah, we'll keep it simple. We're just going to key your rotate X after we go and do an A. Yeah, so A doesn't have to be like, she's not yelling A, right? It's just gonna be A. Yeah, and depends on how much you want to exaggerate it. I think like maybe I'll go a little bit smaller than that, but that's pretty good. Okay, and then key that. Yeah, so wait A, and it's gonna kind of feel similar to what you had before. Yeah, so wait A. Yeah, and let's play that out.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, so wait Yeah, so wait, and then minute starts at about, looks like about 18, yeah, and 19 is about where we need it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna basically have it stay A, and then when we get to about 16, yeah, we'll switch over into our M. Yeah, so 17 right now. I'm gonna go back to this guy up here. Okay, minute starts at about 18, so maybe about 16. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tell it, okay, we're about to make a keyframe here. So we're about to do the yeah, for minute. We're gonna key right before. You notice these are set at 0. Very important to note that we're not gonna distort the mouth until we get into these guys down here. Yeah, so this is where the sound should come into play. And then this is our meh. Yeah, so right over here. So I'm taking 18 for now, and then again keying right over there. This time though for the MVP, we'll put this up. Maybe we'll try 1. 1 looks crazy, and I just realized we didn't close the jaw, so this is going to be super strange. But we'll keep it at this for now. And then I'm going to key that one. Yeah, so she just looks like she's yeah, that's an expression right there. Yeah, and so right over here. So my problem right now is that the jaw should be closed, right? If you're doing a sound, that should be closed. Yeah, so we're going to figure that out. Yeah, and so when we get to the minute, yeah, so I'm thinking probably closes at about 15. Yeah, so I'm going to make our rotate X probably 0. Okay, and then key that. Yeah, so at least we have a wait to a meh. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, I think the M is super strong. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to this control curve up here. 0.1 at 18 might be too much. I'm actually gonna drop this to about 0. Maybe 5. Yeah, see how that looks. Okay, I think that looks a lot better. Yeah, the other one feels exaggerated, which is not the worst, but it might be a little distracting, so I'm going to do a key selected at 0.5 instead. Yeah, notice I just typing in that number, and then when it does a minute, yeah, so we're going okay, it's not going to look too crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and play that back again.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait
Okay, she's getting there. Yeah, so we got our wait a all right. Okay, so we definitely are going to be going into back to open mouth and closed mouth again. So right now definitely at 18, that mouth should be closed. So I'm gonna jump to your lower jaw. I'm keeping this locked in. Yeah, so at rotate X, we're keeping that selected. So that basically means, yeah, from between 15 to 18, the mouth stays closed. Yeah, there's no rotation on the jaw whatsoever. Okay, now minute is going to be a little bit tricky. So minute, yeah, and so you're gonna have 2 mouth movements here. So meh, yeah, so about 20. Yeah, I'm gonna have the meh. Okay, and then we can keyframe that, rotate X over there. So we have a meh, meh, meh. Yeah. Okay, so let's see how that looks.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
Okay, now minute is interesting because it's gonna be minute, and you're going to be closing it on a t, right? And your t is going to be basically, once again, whenever we're using t, it kind of feels like the teeth get involved. Yeah, so minute t. Okay, so to do that, let's find the t. Okay, so let's say about 22. That's when that's like the strongest as far as the t goes. So at 22, my rotate X, I'm gonna kind of bring this back up again. Yeah, so we're gonna have that teeth showing. right over there, right about there. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and I'm gonna go to my rotate X and key it. Yeah, and then now we should have our full sentence almost done. We just gotta kind of like figure out, okay, how do we close out of this dialogue?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, not too bad. Yeah, so wait a minute is kind of working. Minute. Okay. Now, I like it. I kind of like it. I think like at some point the mouth should be closed though, so we do keep the T for a little bit, and then maybe at about like 25, we'll just have the mouth be fully closed. Yeah. Um, Interesting part about dialogue is like when you see like people talking, they a lot of the time like you're just kind of like your mouth isn't closing that often, especially when you're doing sentences. However, when you're doing animation, you may want to kind of have the your mouth moving more, and or like have more contrast, so have more opening and closing, like almost like so that it's exaggerated, just so it reads better. Yeah, so like it's a little bit more obvious what they're saying. This is where like you get into like almost a Donald Duck thing, where like you can sort of see his tongue and everything, because like it's the over exaggeration. Yeah, to kind of sell the dialogue. Okay, so 25, we're gonna do our rotate X. This is where everything will be end up being closed, so I put that back at 0, and I'm gonna key that. Okay, and then now we have our, now we kind of have our dialogue in place, yeah, and then all the way back to resting again.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, I like it. Last thing I'm going to do is I need to make sure that the is not staying on. Yeah, if you notice, the last time we made a keyframe for these mouth movements was at 18. Yeah, so it's been a while. Yeah, so when we're doing minute, okay, this is how we get that movement. So it should be mi, and then once you get to the n, your mbp is gone. Yeah, so that should be kind of gone at that point. So I'm gonna put this back at 0, and then now we're at keyframe 20. I'm gonna key that. Yeah, and then we have, yeah, and then when we play it, it's not gonna look as exaggerated.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
All right, so that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So wait a minute. Okay. All right, so that's our dialogue. Again, like we were able to kind of mess around enough with the W and the M. Like obviously we didn't get to the f. Yeah, that'll be depending on your own choice of whatever dialogue you end up picking. Yeah, that may come into play, but if you notice, like it's just kind of good practice to lock in those three, because you're usually not gonna have the w and the p and the f mixed at any point. Yeah, there's gonna be like one of those three, or you're just opening closing your mouth. Yeah, so there's a it's fine just kind of keyframing things like that. All right, so we're pretty good as far as the dialogue goes. The other thing we can kind of play around with to make things a little bit more fun is like maybe we can do a little bit of expression. Yeah, so it's a short dialogue, so there's not like a lot that I would do. However, I did kind of want to give a little bit of personality, so I'm gonna go to the first frame on here. I am going to select the blend shape control curve, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of an expression. I think wait a minute kind of feels like almost of the four, I would say it's probably surprise, yeah, of them, but it doesn't feel like she's super shocked like when she's saying it even. So what I'm gonna put here is like, I mean, at least I'm gonna put this at maybe like 0.3. Yeah, that'll be my default, and then I'm gonna just key that one particular look. Yeah, so she's gonna have that little bit more of open look to her, yeah, for that part. Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of keep that on, and then you can kind of, yeah, okay, yeah, I can kind of work with that. Okay, the other thing we can kind of mess around with this too is like maybe a little bit of like moving around with the eyebrows. So we can use the eyebrows to emphasize words.
Wait,
Yeah, so
wait
maybe when we get to minute, we can have the eyebrows go up when she's saying minute. Yeah, so that'll be kind of fun. So let's see, I can kind of jump to 16. I guess this is where like minute is beginning to happen. Yeah, so what we'll do here is I'm gonna select both of the eyebrows, um and we're going to yeah, let's get both of those, and then let's kind of just keyframe those right there. Yeah, so I'll just go with all of them. Well, actually, we can kind of go with all the translates. Yeah, right click, we'll key that. So we keep that selected. Yeah. What you can then do here is maybe because of the upwards motion, maybe at about like 22, this is where minute is happening. Maybe we'll change this up a bit. So I'm thinking like, oh, we could probably have the eyebrows go up just slightly. So let's say maybe for your translate y, yeah, that's our vertical. Maybe we'll put that at like 0.1. So we're just gonna have that happening there. Okay, super subtle. But then when we key that, yeah, so we right click and key that, then when she's saying minute, yeah, it's gonna go minute. Yeah, so it's gonna give a little bit like, oh wow, there's a little bit more oomph behind it. Okay, now of course she could stay like this, like if her eyebrows go to the top floor and they just stay there, but it's probably better to have the eyebrows drop. So the up motion will take a little bit more time than when it drops down. Yeah, so we're gonna maybe about 25, I guess. We can kind of um, drop your translate y back to 0, and then we can key all of those. Yeah, and then what we'll have then is a minute. Yeah, so we can watch that. Let's see how that looks.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I could move around the timing a little bit. So yeah, definitely when you're working on your own one, feel free to like yeah, kind of mess around with that. The other thing that'll help, one thing you'll notice is this is a short clip, so you can kind of get away with not having like the um eyes moving around. One thing that you can do to add like break it up and make it feel a little bit more natural is to add like some blinks and stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and attempt that. Maybe we'll have the blink happen, but maybe it'll like overlap with the ending of the animation, and that'll be kind of like our way to say like, okay, animation is over. Yeah, so maybe we can kind of try that. The way to work on the eyes is if you can click on your eye control, yeah, and then we do have our upper and our lower ours for left side and right side. Yeah, so I'm gonna highlight the four of them. We can kind of start this one. I guess we can kind of start this one. Yeah, 21. That'll be kind of a cool spot to start. Yeah, so what we're doing here is this is the last time the eyes are gonna be fully open prior to the blink. Yeah, so we got all four of those. All I'm going to do is super easy. Right click, key selected, boom, that's it. Okay, now we're going to do a kind of a quick blink. Yeah, so maybe around there. And let's see, maybe we'll go with shucks, yeah, we can kind of go with something like this. So maybe we'll go to 25. You know what? 21 is a little bit early. I'm gonna right click on this. I still have my upper L and my upper R's selected. I'm going to delete that. I'm actually gonna put it maybe at like 25. Yeah, probably 25 feels a little bit better. Okay, same thing though. Those four selected. Right click, key selected. Okay, and then here's our blink. Super easy. We're just gonna jump to 28. I'm gonna kind of select upper L and lower L, and I'm gonna middle mouse button drag it. Yeah, and then I want to see if I can get let's see, find the number. Whoa, that was scary. Okay, find the number where the eyes are closed. So I'm gonna kind of bring that over right about there. Okay, so it looks like closing is about minus 25.8. Yeah, now the good thing is we can also use this information, so I'm going to use that for the R, and I believe those are also going to look right. All right, okay, that worked out. That was a little scary for a little bit. I'm gonna select all of these attributes again, yeah, and then right click and then do a key selected, and that'll be at 28 again, upper lower for both the left and the right, minus 25.8 about. So we'll get our blink, and then we'll keep the same rhythm. So maybe jump to 31. This is when the blink is completed. Yeah. So once again, 31. To get it back to normal, we can kind of click drag, yeah, and then just type in 0. That'll get it open back up again. We can select all of these. Um, uh, uh, yeah, we can select all of these attributes, and then we can kind of put those back at 0. Yeah, so let's see how that looks. Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Not bad.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
The blink
Wait
does
a
help a
minute.
lot. Yeah.
Wait
Just
a
make it feel a little bit more alive. Okay, so yeah, feel free to like kind of move the eyes around too and stuff. We're not gonna get too much into that for this one though. Okay. Last but not least, just to make things a little bit more dynamic. Right now, like it sort of feels like her head is just on a pedestal. But in reality, if you're talking to somebody, especially if they're really animated, and remember, this is kind of what we're going for in animation, is to exaggerate a little bit, is to have them like move around. Yeah, that'll show a lot of expression. Additionally, so we can kind of mess around with that. To move around the head, that's going to be this guy right here. That's your head control curve. Yeah, so if you can click and drag, select that one, and then we'll kind of move it around a bit. Yeah, so let's try at 1. Probably we'll have our default. Yeah, so we can have her kind of looking straight ahead right away. I'm gonna get all of my rotates over here and right click and key them. Yeah, so key them over there. Okay, and then we'll kind of have her like right off the bat while she's going and saying wait. Maybe we'll have her move around a little bit. So yeah, let's kind of turn this. So maybe I'll go to rotate X. Let's see what we can do. Oh, never mind. I can use this actually. So maybe we can rotate it a little bit. Yeah. And then we can kind of turn this a little bit. That'll be kind of fun as well. Okay, so we can kind of do that. And then key all of these. Yeah, so key all of that. Key selected, yeah. And then I'm not really having a plan here. I just kind of want the head to move around as the animation is as like the dialogue is happening. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of play around with the location of it and stuff. Yeah, so back to my rotation. Maybe we'll kind of go with this and then maybe down. Yeah, we can kind of do something like that. Okay, key selected. Again, I can definitely clean this up afterwards, yeah, but at least we have a little bit of a turn. Yeah, and then we can get to maybe, yeah, 17 is pretty good. Okay, and then maybe a little bit more rotation, yeah, so we can kind of do yeah, right there. Okay, and key that. And then, I guess and then we kind of close at 26, yeah, so we'll kind of end that up like maybe like that. So we got a lot of movement going on. See if it's too extreme or not. I'm gonna play this out though. It'll feel a lot more like animated, yeah. Now, of course, if you were doing a character, this head would be attached to the body, right? Where a lot of your expressive movements could happen anyway. But this will give you that feel that like it's somebody who's like very enthusiastically or talking to you. Yeah, so you can try
Wait
that.
a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It's
Wait
not
a
bad.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay. I should just let that run for 5 minutes. All right. Okay. So, anyway, that's basically like oh, that's like testing out and like setting up your character again. The biggest thing you can get out of anything, any kind of animation like activity like this is to um just try things out, yeah, and think about like moving around things in terms of like timing and everything. One thing I did kind of want to show real quick is that there are tools that you can still use to change up your timing and stuff. So if I go to Windows animation editors and I choose the dope sheet, yeah, the cool part on here is that any of these things that you select, yeah, so if you notice you select over here, you can move them around, yeah. So for example, where I was kind of moving around with the rotation of the head, maybe I want to move those like to other places on here, yeah. So you can select keyframes, and if you notice this top dope sheet summary, that will be all of your curves that are down here, yeah. So for example, if I select these right here, I go to edit, transform, and use the move keys tool. Then if I hit the middle mouse button, I can kind of drag those around and I can change up the timing. Yeah, so if I move these to over here, what you notice is the head turns are going to be a little bit more abrupt over here, and then when it gets to over here, there's going to be kind of a long turn and then another short turn right at the end. Yeah, so we can play that out.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait
Yeah,
a
so
minute.
dope sheet's pretty awesome. If you want to kind of edit a bunch of stuff at once, you can. Just be careful because there are things you don't want to edit. Like the foundational stuff that you don't want to edit. If you notice when I went to the blend shape controls, yeah, you do want to be careful about those because these guys are keyframed in a way where you don't want to like change up the dialogue, yeah. So just be careful about that. But again, blend sheet blend was it dope sheet is really helpful for kind of like changing up timing and stuff like that. All right, so anyway, that should give you like a basis to like experiment with. So hopefully you guys have some fun like making your character and bringing them to life. So a few things I also wanted to add on after any of your animations is you may want to export them out. So feel free to obviously there's different ways where you can render out. Probably the fastest, of course, is doing a Playblast. If you are going to be doing a Playblast, though, keep in mind your the amount of keyframes that you want to be using when you're doing that. The other thing you probably want to do is make sure that your control rigs are hidden if you're doing a Playblast. So if you notice, I'm going to my character face rig here, holding down the shift key, and opening up everything. The main thing that I'm looking for is going to be in global, and then I'm looking for the controls. Yeah, so the controls are going to be all of these that are highlighted currently. When you want to export it out, though, you probably don't want to see that. So if you do a Control H, yeah, so Control H, that will hide your controls. Yeah, so they really helped you out up until this point, but we don't need it when you're exporting out your video. Other thing that you might want to do here is also oh, by the way, if you ever want to bring them back because you'd want to do edits, just do a shift H, yeah, and if it's highlighted or even if it's the last thing that you hid, it'll just bring it back, yeah. Okay, the other thing you might want to do along the way is you may want to change the look of your character, yeah. So if you remember, we do have our additional like kind of fashions, yeah, not high fashion, but they're at least like a little bit different. There's a couple things, yeah, if you want to do edits on here, you can. For example, um, if you go into your Windows rendering editors hypershade, yeah, so Windows rendering editor hypershade, this will give you all your color information, so you can go ahead and use that. I'm gonna try to shrink this so I can show them side by side. Okay, that's a lot better. All right, so for example, we got all of your settings in here. If you want to change anything, you can. So for example, hair color, yeah, feel free to go into there. You can switch that up if you want. So you can get pretty extreme with that. Yeah, so yeah, you can kind of change that up. Headwear, yeah, so headwear is going to be like your beanie. You can also kind of go for um, you can kind of change it up in okay. You can also change up. Now the cool thing about this is when you're changing these, if you go to your channel box and you bring any of your other characters, they're all combined to. They all have the same. What is it? Connections as far as the color goes. So if you switch one and then you decide to totally change the hairstyle or whatever, it'll take, yeah. And then we do have our iris over here, so if you want to change that up, yeah, feel free to. Again, maybe yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, so again, gives you some options. You can even change the color of like the skin. You can go with the lips material. Let's say you want to kind of add a little color over there, you can as well. And then I guess if you want to change the color of your teeth, you can. I don't know. Whatever you decide, yeah. But yeah, you can have some. You can have some blinged out teeth over here, some gold. Yeah, so something like that. So again, yeah, this is just if you want to customize anything, yeah. All of that information is over here, yeah. Now when you're playblasting, obviously playblast is pretty straightforward. Yeah, basically you're just gonna right click on your timeline, go to the box next to Playblast. For these ones, as you folks know, you can kind of change your quality. Yeah, so I'll usually end up maxing it out. Scale, bring this out. I While I'm not, obviously no one's really the biggest fan of Playblast, it is a quick way to kind of share your work real quick. I'm gonna choose the save to file over here. We can do a browse and you can kind of find a place where you want to save it at, yeah. And then so this will be my face expressions, what is it, tests, yeah. And you can name it whatever you need to name it. And then when you're saving it, yeah, please make sure save to file is checked. And then when you do your Playblast, yeah, it'll create your video, yeah, so you can kind of.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so.
Wait a minute.
All right. So anyway, there we go. That's our full assignment. So hopefully you enjoyed kind of putting that together.